is called Bill's Stick Caddis because it came from a friend of ours by the name of Bill Carnazzo. And Bill was out of the Sacramento area, and did a lot of fishing. And again, it's another one of those flies that you can have in a couple variations, and I'll show you the two variations. And the two variations are really very minor. The biggest, well, the two major variations is the color of the thorax, yellow or orange. Bill tended to tie his with yellow. And the yellow and this orange literally represents the caddisfly worm sticking out of its house, which is made out of sticks and any other foliage you can find on the bottom of the river, sticks and some leaves and so forth. So that's what makes the caddis house. And it says the black represents the head and the orange is the thorax. You can do it, and this one I did with a glass bead. You could also do them, let me go over here. You can also do those with a copper bead or a brass bead with a hot orange bead. So to tie Bill's Stick Caddis, we're going to be using same brown thread again. This is an 8/0 caramel or brown or dark brown. You could even use black if you wanted to. The thread isn't nearly as important. Okay, sticking for the rear gills coming off the caddis is some blood marabou, some dark brown. Okay, for the body we have Tim's Buggy Nip Dark, and what it basically is a brown, bronze bug light along mixed with his dubbing, and I've added some light orange. And let me pull this out so you can actually see the colors and flashing it in it. It has a real interesting color and sparkle to it. You see that? Kind of a orange and brown with some sparkle, okay? And in the instructions I gave you, you'll see how to mix your own.
Oh, you can actually mix it.
Oh yeah, this is actually mixed.
Oh.
This is brown dubbing, some light bright copper, and then some light bright orange is what this mixing is of. Okay, and then for all the sticks, for stick caddis, it's nothing more than pheasant tail.
Yeah, I recognize.
And I'll show you how to do the pheasant tail. This is really an interesting, and the hook we're using is a TMC 200R. Again, 10 the smallest, 6 the biggest. Today we're tying them on an 8, just because that's what I want to tie it on. Let me pinch down the barb here. There we go. All right. Now this one's a little different. Since most of it is tied as a stick body, you're going to want to be just about 1/4 back from the eye, which is going to leave you the room for the colored thorax and the head and the head of the fly, the thread head. Okay, run your thread back to the barb. Okay, you're gonna grab some marabou.
Now, why do you say that the smallest you could use is a 10 size?
Because the insect is no smaller than that.
Okay, thank you.
The insect is quite large.
Okay.
Okay, so we're going to take our marabou. There's a couple of ways to do the marabou. You can either peel off a corner off the side, or you can clip out the tip and then tie it in. For this case, I'm just going to peel off some off the side. You don't want it too thick, because it's just supposed to represent the gills that are sticking out from the case of the caddis. The nice thing about this is, and I'm going to run my thread back up real quick to the front because I'm going to tie it all in. You're going to tie it in rather long, because I want to kind of bulk up the body. Now, if you do really want to get it down and sink, I would also, at this point, and I do not have, because I don't do a lot of sinking flies, I no longer have any non-lead body wrap. All I have is lead, and since lead is a no-no, I'm not even going to put lead on here. But you could use, if you had lead, you would put a lead underbody and help it sink, because you want this fly down on the bottom. Okay? Now, one of the things you don't want to do is cut marabou. And I did that to show you. You see how ugly that looks? You never cut marabou. If you want marabou short, you pinch it just a little shorter. You pinch off the marabou. By doing that, it leaves a nice ragged edge, and it looks more natural than a hard cut end. See that? Look up at the screen. See how nice that looks. Than a hard cut end.
Yeah.
So you never cut marabou, you just pick it. Okay? So at this point, I dub from the bend of the hook up to the point. Okay, and now it gets to be fun. This is where we start putting in what's called the sticks, and the sticks are really a fun and easy way to do this. When you see this, you'll go, why did I think of this? Take a couple of fibers of the pheasant tail, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to take 2 at a time. Take a pair, lay them on top, right in front of where you dubbed it, and I want those off to that side. I'm going to take the next 2, tie them in.
So you're tying them 2 on each side.
2 on each side, and I want them a little bit heavier stick-wise, so I'm going to tie on a 3rd pair. On the 3rd pair. I'm going to get these down just a little bit right on top. Alright, then I'm going to bring my thread forward a couple of turns. Go back to my dubbing. And I'm going to dub my body right over where I tied in my sticks. What I like to do is when I'm doing my body, is I like to maybe put one behind it, pull them out to the side, and take another turn.
You're just basically standing the hairs on the feather.
Yes, I am. The whole point here that I'm trying to do is take all what's going to become my sticks. I want to set them at all kinds of angles around the body. Okay? So I'm going to take this one and I'm going to go in front of it. Pull this one back and go in front of it. Alright, and then another turn. Come back, get a couple more sticks. Okay. And this time I got 3. I'm going to tie these on. I'm going to X them on. There we go. Back to my dubbing. Now this looks really ratty. What you don't understand is when I'm all done dubbing the body, I'm going to chop down those sticks and make them smaller. Okay, there's all my sticks. So now what I would do with my sticks and you can do it at any time during it, is you're going to cut all of these at different lengths. Some long, some short. They're anything but even. You want to make sure they're all going to be at some length that's not the same as the one right next to it. You're trying to create an illusion of a body that has been wrapped in wooden pieces, subsurface. There's your sticks. How many you put on? It's up to you. You want more, put more on. You know, but that's it. I mean, it's just that easy to create the stick body. And when I first saw Bill do this, I was amazed at how well the fly looked. You got to see this thing in the water, alongside a natural October caddis in the water. They look the same. It's kind of like, geez, Bill, what a great idea. So anyhow, so at this point, I'm going to tie in the little head of the bug, and you can use, I got some of this lightning dub, sparkle dub. What you want is a real sparkle dubbing. You know, this is an orange, or you can use light bright blend. I'm going to use light bright. I'm going to use the orange, because you want a lot more sparkle on the head. Now you notice there's no hackle on this. The head can be a little smaller than the body, because remember, this is the insect coming out of the inside of his shell. So he's going to be something smaller than the case he's in. Otherwise he wouldn't fit in it. Okay?
So
now
the
we've
brown,
got the head.
the outside portion represents the shell.
Right.
And the orange is the emerging of
Right.
the...
And then a little black dubbing, and I'm going to be using the same sparkle blend again to represent the actual head of the insect. Remember, the orange represents the body of the insect and not the head. The little bit of black right there, that represents the insect's head itself, physical head. And no hackle. The only feather we've used, if you would, was a little bit of the pheasant tail. That's it. Now, I didn't grab it. If I had my toothbrush right now, it'd be a good time to just rag the heck out of that thing like that. This is the fly. The more ragged, uglier it looks, it fishes better. If it's nice and neat, you probably won't catch anything. If it looks terrible, you'll catch more fish on it. But yeah, if I had my toothbrush, I'd be ragging. I'm going to do my fingers, but you know, you can just look at that. And it works like a charm. So the two flies that we did today, one represents the nymph actually on the bottom, bouncing around in the rocks, okay? From this, as the insect comes out of its case, it goes into an emerger. And then last but not least, you end up with the dry fly. Here we go, I'll give you a big one. End up with a big orange caddis dry fly.
How much time do you think it spends as an emerger?
Very little. Very, very little.
An hour? A day?
Oh gosh, no, as a merger?
Yeah.
Minutes.
Minutes?
Yeah, because once it leaves its case, it's running right to the surface. Once it hits the underside of the film, the meniscus, it hits it, it pushes its way through, and out of the emerger body comes the dry fly body, and it pops out and it flies away. So you know it's an emerger. I mean, it's like now. It's not spending this way. It'll as the nymph, probably a year.
At least a year?
Oh yeah. Oh, they're there all year long. But they're usually hidden deep into crevices and under rocks, and they're not moving ones, and they get buried pretty deep within the rock formations themselves, so they're not readily available to the trout. But as the emergent time comes near, they crawl out from under the rocks, because they know emergence is coming soon, and that's when they get swept away and are into current and availability. But one of the best patterns for an October caddis is right there. It's a stimulator in orange. Works great. I mean, you can get real fancy and you can do something like this, which is more like an elk hair caddis, you know, and so forth. Here, you want to get real fancy? You want to clip your deer hair? So there's lots of patterns for the October caddis. It's a great fly. This one here is a Poly Rossborough emerger. This is one of them that he ties as an emerger pattern. And if you notice the size and the beef of that hook that he's tying it on.
Yeah, huge.
You know, if you were fishing the Williamson and the October caddis are coming off in the Williamson, you'd want that kind of hook. You want that hook because they're 22, 24 inches. So that's Bill Stick Caddis. I mean, both of these flies, as you've seen, are really very simple. This one, like I said, the only feather you're using, I mean, it's basically dubbing. It's a test to your dubbing skills. And as I said, I showed you the bead heads. You can do bead heads. You can do a glass head. If you really want them to sink, you want some underbody. If you had tin, I don't have any tin. I ran out of tin, otherwise I would have brought it. But you want a tin underbody so that it sinks. You want these flies need to be down deep. If you're bouncing the bottom, you're right where you should be. Okay?
And
All right.